What's going on, Marvel fans? Paintball Falcon here, aka Brandon from 3-Man Broadcast, and I'm bringing you guys my review on the latest movie, The Avengers 2 Age of Ultron. And I just want to say that this movie was just flawless. It was amazing. It was just as good as the first one. And you know, a lot of people would probably have speculation saying that there could have been this, there could have been that, but I thought this movie was just completely wonderful. I mean, everything was so well done. The choreography with the fighting was just amazing. Even the supervillain Ultron was just a great character. I loved him. I don't know who did the voice actor for him, but he was just a really good voice actor. And I just loved his character just because of how nonchalant and how chill he was about everything, but yet he was still so maniacal in his own way. He was confused and scared. That was also said within the movie. But you know, a lot of times I don't really agree with the supervillain of any kind from any, I guess, anime or movie or any kind of television show where there's an evil villain. I normally don't like the supervillain, but I mean, I liked his character. He was really he was just really unique in his own way. And we don't really see that in a lot of movies. A lot of the characters that are evil, such as Loki, he's like angry, you know. He's like he wants attention, and it seemed like Ultron, he was like, I don't really care about that, you know. I just want peace, and I'm gonna do it in my way. I'm gonna do this the way I think it should be done. And his way was world destruction. Still, he wanted to eliminate everyone on the earth, try and evolve everyone, so to speak. Because he was talking about how the dinosaurs were wiped out and people evolved from that and so on and so forth, and they were like, yeah, but you know, we're not gonna let you do that, you know, we're gonna stop you. And it was really cool to see the relationship between the Avengers itself, because you see that they kind of for the most part got used to each other, and they were able to tolerate each other better than they were in the first one. Because within the first one, they were always at each other's throats, trying to kill each other, saying, "Oh, well, you're stupid," or we don't agree with what you're doing. You're doing something that doesn't really happen, or you're doing too much. You're not doing enough, you know. And even with this one, I did see, of course, they were fighting with Captain America, or not Captain America. Well, he was fighting against Iron Man, because Iron Man was doing things, Tony Stark was doing things that he didn't necessarily have to do, and he was just basically, he was going behind their back and setting up things and not telling people. And they were like, well, you got to tell us something, man. You can't just go and just think that you're doing something that's going to benefit all of us. You got to let us know what you're doing. I mean, that's why you're an Avenger. You got to keep in contact with us, let us know what's going on, keep us in the loop. And he was like, if I told you guys that, then that would probably make y'all do something irrational and not think properly and whatnot. And they were like, well, for the most part, you know, you pretty much still are in the same predicament, you tell us or not. So, but when they first saw Ultron, that was one of the craziest things I've ever seen, because Ultron was just so like, it was like he was confused, and he knew what he wanted to do, but he was still confused. You know, it was like, I mean, I was just so amazed with how he presented himself. He was just walking around, and he's like, he wasn't even looking at him to begin with. He was just walking around the Avengers Tower. He just you know, there's no strings on me and stuff. And he's just like, just so nonchalant throughout the whole thing. And even when he was controlling people, when he controlled that scientist, and he's like, you're gonna do this for me, or if you scream, I'm gonna kill your entire staff. And he said that so normal. He was just like, the minute you scream, I will kill everybody in this room. And I was just like, wow. I would have been like wanting to scream. I'd have been the same as her. I'd be like, you know what, I'm just gonna do whatever he says. This dude's huge. I ain't gonna piss him off. He looks like pretty much a badass. I am not about to get on his wrong bad side. So, but I think my favorite Avenger within this movie would have to be Quicksilver, and I hate that they killed him off so soon. He just got introduced, and they killed him off right then and there. And I'm like, are you serious? I was actually enjoying the fact that they had him within this whole thing, and he was just to me, he was an interesting character, and probably one of my favorite out of all of them. And I just hate that they killed him off. And you know, the Vision comes in, and people were saying, like, I had people say, oh, it was Jarvis, or people say, oh, well, it was this guy. And I'm like, well, you know, so to speak, Jarvis basically said that, or that wasn't Jarvis, but the Vision said, I'm not Jarvis, I'm not Ultron, I'm not a son of Ultron. And basically, he just went ahead and did what he had to do, and he took out Ultron. Sure enough, he had the aid of the Avengers, of course. And then he got inducted into the Avengers, and I'm glad they took him in, because now he's kind of like the Superman of the Avengers. And there's just so much more to come, and this is just such a great year for movies, because The next thing they have coming in, I want to say July or June. I think it's July, or maybe June. I think it's June. I'm not really certain, but you have the Ant-Man, and I can't wait to see how that's going to be. At first, I honestly thought that movie was going to suck, but then after seeing the preview, I thought it was pretty good. So I can't wait to see that. And the fact that it's just like, wow. Like I just don't even know what to say. It was just wow. I just if you haven't seen the movie, I would recommend this movie. Please go watch it if you haven't already. And I would suggest you take a few friends who may be a fan, may not be a fan, but I would still just do it just because it's such an amazing movie. The characters were just, I love it. They picked the perfect characters for all these people. They just do such an amazing job as their character, and it's just phenomenal how these guys work and how they operate. And it's, to me, it seemed like within the movie that these Avengers were slowly falling apart, and that's how that's pretty much, it seems to be everyone's goal. Like Loki wanted them to fall apart and fight against each other, and then you have Ultron trying to do the same thing, and it seems like it always works for a little bit, and then they end up like knowing that, you know, we know what we have to do. We have to fight with each other. You know, we have to fight with each other, not against each other. And we got to do this, otherwise the entire world is going to die. You know, everyone in this world is going to die. This is not how we need to let things go down. And I just can't say it enough. This movie was just great. You had the right kind of action. You had the right kind of, you know, sappy moments. And it was just all kinds of crazy. It was just like, I can't believe how good this was. And I honestly want to say, to me personally, of course, that one, the Ultron movie, is much better than the first one that they did, because it was just all kinds of things. And there was one thing that I wanted to get off my chest, and that was that, you know, I saw previews before this movie came out, and I honestly thought that Ultron was in control of the Hulkbuster costume, and I thought that Ultron was using the Hulkbuster to fight the Hulk. But within the movie, you see it's actually Tony Stark in the Hulkbuster. So he was the one actually fighting against Hulk, trying to calm him down, because of they needed him to come back so they could regroup and try to think of another strategy in order to take down Ultron. But, you know, the Hulk kind of just did his own thing anyway. And it was just really cool how they did that, because it still seemed like the Hulkbuster couldn't even take on the Hulk. It was still like the Hulk is that like strong, he's that invincible almost. So it's gonna be really interesting to see someone like the Hulk and then Spider-Man be in the same movie, because people say that Spider-Man pretty much has superhuman strength, and I like to think that people like to compare Spider-Man to like Superman in a way, saying that he's really like strong and really able, like pretty much anything. I feel like anything physically Superman can do, people want to say Spider-Man can do just as good. I'm not talking about like abilities such as ice breath or, you know, laser beam out of his eyes, but I mean like strength wise and like, I guess, resistance wise, they want to say Spider-Man's almost invincible. And I'm like, is he really like this strong or really that invincible and whatnot? But it's just really interesting to see how they put this movie together, and I can't wait for the next one. And the next one should include the Infinity Wars Part 1 and Part 2, and they should actually have the other guys from Guardians of the Galaxy within the same movie at this point. They'll finally have the little crossover, and I can't wait to see how that's going to turn out. It's going to be a lot of Avengers, I must say. It's going to be like an army of Avengers, pretty much. And it's going to be just crazy to see that, because you're going to have all the different personalities all coming together for one movie, and it's going to be like a bunch of great actors in one movie. And that's going to be one thing that I think a lot of people are waiting to see, because, I mean, all these movies have just been great. All these individual movies, Captain America, you know, 3 is going to be coming our way. We had, you know, Iron Man 3, and that was a great movie. Thor 2, all this other stuff. All these movies have been just great, and I can't wait to see how they put this next one together. But as always, my girl Scarlett Johansson, you know, everybody knows who that is. Black Widow. That's my wife there. We all know. Just saying. Just kidding. But anyways, thank you all for watching this video. This has been my review, basically, and thank you all for tuning in to see my review and my thoughts on this movie. If I spoiled anything, I tried not to. I just wanted to explain to you guys that I really enjoyed this movie. I really wasn't trying to explain much for those of you who haven't seen it. This wasn't supposed to be like a spoiler type thing. So, I mean, I just thought this movie was really great. And thank you all for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, or if you're fans of the Avengers or Marvel in general, then please subscribe to our channel. Leave a like. You know, drop that like in the you know, Make sure you leave a comment in the comment section below. And on that note, this has been your broadcast.